The European Union is also navigating U.S. tariffs as tensions with the Trump administration heighten. Concerns are now mounting that Europe may no longer be able to rely on its transatlantic ally as it has in the past. William Denslow reports from Brussels.
European leaders have vowed to step out from behind the US protective umbrella and step up the bloc's own defence capabilities. The European Commission has put a more than $840 billion defence plan on the table. Amid uncertainties over Washington's support for Ukraine, the Rearm Europe proposal seeks to provide Kyiv and Europe at large with extra muscle.
That security partnership across the Atlantic has been so important, so integral to allow Europe to do what it is and to be an economic power and a cultural power and so on. And now Europe is confronted with a world that has not only become much more dangerous, but a world in which its principal ally has become less predictable.
Since the end of the Second World War, the US has provided the lion's share of military backing to the continent. Beyond defence, it's a relationship founded on shared values, common interests and cooperation in tackling major global challenges. Now, with President Donald Trump in the White House, the EU faces the prospect of a new era where US support is no longer a guarantee. In a speech marking 100 days of her second term as Commission President, Ursula von der Leyen warned that geopolitical shifts are shaking alliances and that decades-old certainties are crumbling. In this current climate, she says the EU offers predictability and stability. The bloc says it's committed to building new partnerships and strengthening old ones. Early this month, the EU held a summit in South Africa as it seeks to strengthen its diplomatic footing.
In a moment of increased global confrontation and competition, we must strengthen our partnership further. We must work closely together to ensure the future is built on our shared belief in cooperation and human dignity. In stable relations, we stay together the course.
With the Trump administration touting an America First agenda, the EU says it's now the United Nations' most reliable partner, committed to the UN principles of multilateralism. And with the US pulling out of a number of major global initiatives like the Paris Climate Agreement, there's pressure for Europe to do more.
I think the European leaders have taken stock of geopolitical shifts and like opening a new era. So they're kind of redefining how competitiveness looks like, how security, how kind of resilience looks like in this new context. And climate and decarbonization is still very central to this. I think what we need now is a bit more firmer commitment, firmer action.
The EU has promised such action, pledging to stay the course, even if the US does not. The bloc's clean industrial deal could unlock over $100 billion to boost manufacturing and help member states transition to low-carbon economies. Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has also stated the bloc's willingness to join forces on global warming, not just with like-minded friends, but with any country the EU shares interests with. But uncertainty lingers over whether, in the face of a US retreat, Brussels can play a leading role. William Denslow, CNA, Brussels.